Welcome back to I'm Still Here. I'm Larry.
And I'm Heather. In 1998, I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer at the age of 26. It changed everything for us, but I'm still here.
You are. So today we're going to be talking about things that you can control and maybe how you react to things that are out of your control. This whole cancer thing literally is uncontrollable. We're talking about a cell that divides incorrectly, and then a lot of people would say divides uncontrollably or rapidly. So we're talking about this disease that you have that is uncontrollable by nature, but I think you've found a ton of success by controlling the things that are possible.
Yeah. I think it's been helpful to me to kind of say, I can control this, I can't control that, or what can I control today, maybe, or just kind of having a thought process of, okay, it's not all lost. Like it does, I feel like cancer does feel like a spiral. You know, it just, sometimes it spirals out of control, it feels like, especially at the beginning, right?
No doubt.
So, yeah, I think it's worth kind of just going through some of the things that have been helpful.
And speaking of the beginning, I mean, honestly, this is where your freakness comes in. I think you were a rock in the beginning, or detached, or something. Yeah. I don't know what it was.
It's a family trait.
It was a positive because I could have spiraled out of control in that, feeling like I had no control over anything. And small events were laid out for us that helped with the control part, but holy moly, I can see that happening for sure.
Yeah.
So, what can you control?
Well, I mean, for me, I kind of started with what can I control from a physical standpoint? When we've talked about some of the different, building blocks, it's easy for me to head towards physical things such as food, exercise, and even rest. I think those are all physical things. But so for food, I can control what I decide to eat. You know what I mean? And I can also control how I decide to view that. Because, like, let's be honest, I don't eat well all of the time. You know what I mean? But I also, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm going to think about food as fuel for my body when I'm doing it right. And when I'm not doing it right, I'm not going to be over worried that it's doing something negatively to me. Does that make sense?
It does, especially during treatment.
Yeah.
I mean, food as fuel when a lot of people are losing weight and in a rough condition. It literally is fuel. It is what is going to keep you going, what is going to allow you to exercise, what's going to allow you to get out of bed in the morning. Yeah. I mean, it is huge.
Yeah, so I think, again, with that, when you look at it on a bigger basis, it's like, most days, especially in those phases, I'm shooting to really eat well. And I'm also understanding that there's going to be some days that it's not going to be possible.
No.
But to always kind of go, can I get there today? Or can I do something that's good for me from a physical standpoint?
No doubt. And if you're going to put something in your stomach, choose something healthy.
Yeah.
You eat something you should have before the stuff you want to have, right? As a general rule.
Yeah.
But, even going back to treatment with the exercise, there were days where, the day after and 2 days after and 3 days after chemo, the chemo for 8 hours a day, you were out walking, you were exercising, and I know you didn't feel good.
Well, I think there's part of that. So this is what I've realized doing this for so long is there's a little part of me that says you don't know what tomorrow brings. And so, I've had so many fractures and different things like that along the way that there is a little part of my brain that says, do it today. Like, if you feel good enough today, do it today. And so, whatever that is. So on a day, after treatment, sometimes, like, right after treatment, you're kind of surprisingly, you feel better than you think. It's like 3, 4, 5 days out that it really catches up with you. So it's kind of that, okay, let me evaluate. My foot's not in a boot, my whatever, my stomach is settled, all those kind of things. If I can do it today, I should.
Yeah. I was literally thinking about that on our walk this morning, and we got a pretty good streak of exercising going, and I was just thinking, man, all it takes is, because we both had a ton of injuries. We're athletic, we play sports, we do that, and you do get hurt, and it sidelines us both.
It feels like oftentimes it's like you and then me and then me and you. Like we go back and forth.
Yeah, and some of the times I built myself up to just being in great shape and strong and everything, and then and I got to have a surgery, and now I'm back 6 months or something. And I literally thought of that this morning on our walk, just going, we are both pretty healthy right
Getting
now,
there,
and building, and it's really nice. It's also knock on wood, right?
Yeah,
Oops,
I will say, sorry, but part of that too is that I've also been thinking more about rest, I think, than I ever have. And, being able to sleep when I'm tired is really something. I feel like sleep gets such a, we all think we're tougher and stronger by not sleeping. And honestly, like my body works a lot better when I can sleep. And honestly, I'm sleeping better at night, which has been great, but also I almost always take a nap.
Little cat naps.
Yeah. So, I feel like sometimes it's just listening to your body. Like if it wants it, it's okay,
But it's also like what you said is, not trying to necessarily tough it out, because that is a choice.
Yeah.
And it's something that you do have control over.
Yeah.
Whether you're going through treatment or you're post-treatment or you're listening to give advice to somebody.
Yeah.
Sleep is ridiculously important because it sets the other things up. And honestly, it's, you could say all of them are the most important, but it's truly a choice. You're making a choice. Then when your body goes, you're not going to sleep right now. Okay, get up. But
And I will say, as parents, right, there's lots of sleep deprivation, things like that. But you also, still within that, there are choices to be made. When your kids sleep, you sleep. When you know what I mean? If there's a nap time and you can take a nap, take a nap. Like all of those,
Why don't you talk a little bit, if you can take yourself back to any of the treatments you were going through, maybe with the exception of the stem cell transplant where you were in the hospital. But even a little then. Obviously you didn't feel real well. Your body was getting its butt kicked.
Yeah.
What was your mindset with exercise? Because you probably didn't feel like exercising.
Yeah, I don't know. I had really intentionally scheduled time. So every day. So I wanted to kind of make use of that time and feel like it also, I think because it wasn't, like say it was 4 hours or 3 hours, whatever it was, you kind of go, okay, I want to check these things off of my list. And so with exercise, I think what I've learned over time is just start. Because, if you can do it for 5 minutes and get past a lot of people say different things. I have a friend who runs who's like, the first half mile is always terrible or whatever, but then it gets better. So kind of it really is just get moving, just try something. Or, the other thing that I found also is just, if I think about just walking, like you really can walk for 5 minutes or walk for 10 minutes and that all adds up, so.
And I don't know if it correlates, but I mean, I find the days that I don't want to work out the most is the days that I feel like I get the most out of my workout. Because I didn't want to do it times 1,000.
Well, and it makes you proud of yourself too. And it does kind of help you, kind of go, okay, I did that and I can do something else now too, So it does help. And then there's no opportunity for you to go, oh, you didn't even do anything today, which,
and there's going to be some days that's true.
Yeah. But, and some, and that's like, I there's this quote that says, courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the quiet voice at the end of the day that says, I will try again tomorrow. And I remember thinking about that too. Like, I will try again tomorrow, that's okay. It just, you can't, if you keep letting it go there, like if we don't, you lose things, know? So our bodies, dang it, they need to be moved and used.
And I feel like putting your body in the optimal sleep, exercise, and the food you're putting in your body, you're giving it the best chance of fighting cancer.
Well, and that was my whole thing, was like, okay, what can I do to, like, if the chemo will work, and
the doctor's going to do their part.
Yes, right. Then what can I do to make my body as strong as possible, so it can come through these treatments as well as possible, so it can be effective as possible, all of those things. And fortunately, we also, like, we were able to see results of that so quickly with the tumor shrinking, and knowing that it was shrinking. It was really empowering, right?
It's very much the mindset of an athlete training, and a professional athlete training for, I probably more like a track and field or something, where they train a month out for an event type of thing. It's obviously not the same training, but I'm saying the mindset of putting fuel in your body and getting rest and really challenging yourself even when you don't want to. It's that mindset.
And it's more than just, and it's actually kind of taking control, or taking the attitude of, I can do something, versus I just have to get through this. Like, just getting through things is, a whole different thing than wait a second, maybe I can do something. Maybe I can make a difference, or, what can I do?
So what else did you feel like you could and can control?
I realized pretty quickly on that I could control how I responded to other people. Like, the information that was coming, I don't want to even say information, but just even the conversations that were coming at me, especially in the beginning, and just felt so much sort of out of my control at times, but I literally, sometimes I just stop people, and sometimes I also realized that it was just better for me not to have a large circle that was interacting with me, I did build that bubble a little bit, and just because I knew that some things that came through were really hard for me to process. They were disappointing, they were scary, they were all of those things. And it doesn't matter what the intention of them were, it still made it, my life difficult. So
for sure.
So how I responded to others, I think. How I get my medical information, I can control that. And I think it's interesting. I was actually on a call last night, and we were talking about this again. There's been an act passed that people will have, they will have the ability to access their medical information as soon as it's posted. Well, okay, I get that. But also,
you don't have to.
You don't have to. And case in point, I had a PET scan 2 weeks ago on a Monday, and I read my results an hour before I got to the clinic on the Monday that we went. I was like, at that point, I was like, I can handle an hour of, oh, crud. Or I just wanted to go, okay, can I be thinking about the other things that I also want to talk about in this appointment, or do I need to switch gears? But it is a choice. I can control that. I will say there were times that I was like, I am going to open that up. And, and then even my doctor comes in with it, printed out, and literally has the top thing highlighted that says no evidence of metastatic disease, whatever it said. That was it. And we're like...
And she made us take it.
Yeah. But there is such a thing as too much information. And I was talking with other people who have different cancers last night. And we were kind of all on the same page in terms of, you can know too much.
The placebo effect is real.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So the opposite of that is real.
Yes.
So if you misread a medical treatment or test or whatever, in which we do all the time, we misread them. Yeah. Because we're not doctors. And you can then take that to another level that is really unhealthy. And that's just one example of that.
Well, and I can tell you again, with my PET scan, it says uptake in this area, uptake in this area, uptake in this, which is like, oh crap, oh crap, oh crap. Well, now I know that, uptake where the O and J is, that, but again, I just prefer the no evidence of that's a lot easier for me to handle.
And that's, as far as your bubble or assigning roles and stuff, that can be a role for somebody. For
Absolutely.
that somebody that can digest that information, maybe has a little bit of medical background, wouldn't hurt, and has the know-withal to know your wishes and what you want to know and what you don't.
Right.
And literally can keep a secret.
Yes.
If you have that person, that's not bad because they can be doing some research based on a test result or based on something. Mm-hmm. And that can be positive for you. You can go into a doctor's appointment with that person and they can then say, hey, I knew about some of this. And, the placebo effect is real. So there's not many situations when dealing with cancer where you have to know all of that information. You just don't.
I agree. And honestly, I think there's also, there's people that insist that their doctors give them numbers. You're not a number.
Gee,
so Christmas. It doesn't matter tell me what my chances are. My chances were absolutely terrible. Months to live. That's what my chances were.
So you're saying I got a chance.
But there's always one. There's a chance. Yeah. So,
and your brain is an amazing organ that can help you get to that result of I still want to be here.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And we can't put any limits on it because we don't understand it. Right. I teach about the brain and we don't understand it and how it happens. And so that type of negative information, somebody would have to really give me a lecture on how that could possibly benefit you. Yeah. There's just no benefit to it. It's all negative. So
I know. And I do think this is where, if anything, people think that I are critical of my positivity. It's not a toxic positivity. It's a protection. Mm-hmm. It is a way for me to not have to process information that I know that I can't process.
So you're positive for good reason. You're not faking it.
No.
That's what I'm, in not knowing a lot of the information.
Right.
What do you have to be sad about type of thing or negative about?
Right. No, I can remember with talking, I don't know, it was a post about side effects of a drug that I was on, and they were talking about, do you get all this cramping in your hands or whatever? And I was like, I didn't know that was a side effect. I can just go, that's life. That's daily life. I don't care. I'm not
worked out. Now my muscles are sore.
Right. Yeah. So it really, I think there's so much that people can do with that, but it does take kind of conscious thought. And it also takes the ability to sort of rethink a path. Just because we've been doing something for so long doesn't mean it's the best way to do it, right? Like,
yes.
We both work in education, and I feel like we both find that often. Like, just because that's the way it's always been done doesn't mean it should still be that way. When we learn things, we can do better. And that's how I feel about both getting information and processing it. So,
what else? What else can you control?
I can control how I view my life. So I think about this in terms of, I could go through life going, I was put in menopause at 26. I lost the ability to have children. I lost my breast. I've had 75 surgeries, whatever. I could just put all of that in a column and say, poor me. Mm-hmm. And I choose not to. I choose to go, there's a lot of good, and and I'm grateful to be here, and all of those kind of things. So I think you can be, you can have a pity party occasionally, but you can't have a continuous pity party.
But you need somebody to bring you out of that pity party.
Or you can somebody somebody, if you're on, set a time, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's even times, like, now for me, when I think about sadness, sometimes I get sad after, like, we've had a really great weekend or something, and then the kids leave and whatever. And it's kind of like, okay, you can be sad for a little bit, but then you just got to get back at it, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so. Yeah. And I guess the next, how I deal with fear, I can control that. It's hard. It's easier now, but it has been hard, right?
has been really hard.
It has been really hard.
Don't discount that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's hard to control.
It is. And I think for me, I mean, I'm dealing with other kind of situations that can head towards fear right now, like different, changes in life or whatever, looking at different job situation, any kind of thing like that. Like fear, it's so, again, when we talk about our brain, right, it just takes over. It's like I'm going to protect you and you should stay in this.
A lot of people, it's the fear of the unknown.
Yes.
But with cancer and waiting on diagnosis or test results, it's the fear of the known.
Yeah, true. That's true.
You know what, and that's
true.
Scary as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that fear of the known can be as scary as unknown when that known sucks.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So, and then I was thinking too that I can control how I advocate for myself. So, I've learned.
You're so good at that.
I've learned how to do that in most circumstances. On the job, in terms of knowing, I don't want to say, I don't feel like I have limits, but for me, it's really because I manage a lot of appointments and things like that. So having a little more time for myself versus on the job's helpful. Advocating for myself in all situations, especially medical, and just a lot of times
we learned that early on.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to be a little bit of a bully. And I'm sure we'll do a show specifically on that. We need to. Because most people we know about that are friends of ours or acquaintances and, got diagnosed and going to have my first appointment in a month. And from there, then we'll see what we're going to do. And we just sit back and go, what? Yeah. No. Well, that's what they said. Well, screw that. Go to their boss then. You should be in there tomorrow and start getting treated. And we have that attitude of, no, this is what we're going to, and we're both pretty good at advocating for ourselves, which I know is a gift because some people just cannot do it. But you know what? You need somebody who can do it for you, I believe, if you can't. Because the medical conglomerate there, you can advocate for yourself and you can get stuff done.
I agree. And I've learned, to make extra phone calls, to be, put me on this list, to call back every day. Like, it's amazing how quickly you can make things happen if you need to. And also just advocating for your own comfort and personal all sort of things in terms of, like, I think about, there's been many times over the years that people will come in and, I've got 3 students with me. And most times I say yes, but there have been times that I'm like, no, like, I don't want an audience
Not today.
You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Or just, this isn't comfortable. Speak up. You can advocate for yourself. It's not... You shouldn't just go through pain all the time or discomfort or as being a patient. You shouldn't. You should speak up. And you know what? A lot of times, maybe after the fact, they go, we wish we would have known that. We could have.
Right. Well, and again, just even like the PET scan thing. So now I know when they say, put your hands over your head or, your arms above your head. And I'm like, I'll put them down as soon as I go. And they're like, I guess you can do that. I'm like,
I can.
I know I can. Thank you. Like, just because it's easier for you to say it once and, like, make me keep my, whatever, So there's a lot of ways that you can advocate for yourself. But also I think it comes with just realizing that when you can make yourself feel better about those things, it does make the whole thing a little better, right? So.
And unfortunately in this disease, there are a lot of things you can't control.
Right.
You can't control a test result, so you can't,
right.
You just can't control. Some things have to be done. You have to have this surgery to save your life. Yeah. You whatever. How do you deal with those things that you cannot control the thing?
Well, I think I control the things that I can, the things around it. So when I think about a surgery or a big test or a time in the hospital, I'm going to control what I take with me. I'm going to control maybe the food situation, or I mean, even just like, again, with tests, I've learned, you know what? If you don't wear any metal, you never have to wear a gown. Hello. I don't like to wear gowns. I don't like to hold them closed, them, all of that kind of stuff. It's things like that if I can keep myself in my comfort zone a little bit more, then I feel good about that. We were talking about my first surgery, my mastectomy. The surgeon, when I was talking to her, I was very convinced. I said, if you open me up and find cancer, please don't talk negatively about me. I don't want to hear that, even subconsciously, and she said, I understand that, and I'm happy to do that. I think sometimes it's okay to really share what you're thinking about, or how you feel about different things. Just a little kind of a side thing. I think we might have talked about this before, but I've done some surgeries at Mayo Clinic, and at Mayo they give you a caffeine pill if you're a coffee drinker, because you're not drinking coffee that morning or whatever on a day of a surgery. And I was like, that's awesome. And they're like, because that'll help prevent the headache or whatever. So then I had a surgery more recently at U of M, and I asked him about it, and the anesthesiologist goes, "No, well, we don't do that, but that's a great idea." It's
you guys should go to Mayo for that.
And so all of those things are, the little things that you could control. They do make a difference. They make you feel a little better. So.
And because I know this about you, you have had a lot of things that you can't control, and not always, but in a lot of situations, especially, in the last 15 years, you've been able to, I wouldn't say change it to a positive, but see the good in it, change you've been able to say, okay, that sucks, but here's how I'm going to attack it. You've been able to do that in a lot of instances.
Well, I can't change. I mean,
it's your attitude on hey, you broke your foot again. All right. I mean, I guess
I've got 2 boots.
Yeah, you kind of roll with it, which is you're a freak.
Well, I don't know. I just think, again, I would rather go through this life looking at the things that I have versus the things that I don't have, and also knowing that I wanted to be here so badly, right? So I'll take the stuff that comes along with it. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be this, oh, I'm in great shape. I mean, we have friends that they seem to be rolling into their 50s and 60s, and they're running every, and all these kind of things. And it's just not going to be me, but I also I'm really grateful for the time I have and the experiences, right?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
And if we do it in a boot, we do it in a boot. No, I'm just kidding.
So again, let us know what you're thinking, guys. Let us know what you want us to cover. If we have an experience with it, we will do that. Mm-hmm. And keep the comments coming and let us know what direction we should go. But there are things that you can control, and because of that,
I'm still here.
You are. Peace.